Okay, so now that we just talked a little bit about chips, let's talk about some of the cameras that are out there right now. Now, within the point-and-shoot range of cameras, we've got advanced digital point-and-shoot cameras, which tend to be a little bit larger and have more buttons, more controls, and more overrides on them. We have shirt pocket digital point-and-shoot cameras, little ones that can just fit into a pocket and they're go anywhere, take anywhere cameras. And then we have luxury digital point-and-shoot cameras, which I've got a Leica and a Sigma one that I call luxury ones, and then we have some specialty ones. Within the advanced point-and-shoot digital camera, the Canon PowerShot really is one of the best ones that's out there right now. And why is it so good? First off, it's got a killer lens on it. It has a 28 to 140 millimeter lens. Now, why 28 is so important? Yes, I got ones that go up to 180, 210, even the real long power, the long ones that go to 560 millimeters. But the real test of a camera is the wide angle. And why is that? We're New Yorkers. We have relatively small abodes that we live in. If you want to get a group of people in a small room, you need a wide angle. If you want to get a real nice landscape, do street shooting, that's really the realm of the wide angle. So this camera's got a great, it's a great lens that starts off at 28 millimeters. Now, there's a button here. You can push this button, and this little ring comes off. When that ring comes off, you can put the LADC58 lens adapter tube onto the camera. That will allow you to have a 58 millimeter filter size on it, or put wide angles and telephoto lenses, auxiliary lenses on it. So you can buy auxiliary lenses, but let's just go back to that filter question. Did anyone get excited when I said you could put filters on a digital point-and-shoot camera? Okay. Well, filters have really gone the way of the dodo since Photoshop has come out, because you can do so many cool things in Photoshop. But there's one filter that Photoshop can't do, and it's called the circular polarizer. Any of you are, some nodding heads are, now we're getting excited. Good photographs happen with a circular polarizer, because what you can do is you can make skies darker and bluer, increase the contrast that's in the picture, and you can also take reflections off of things. Anytime you're photographing buildings, cars, anything that's shiny, water, putting a circular polarizer on it, taking away that reflection is really key. So this is a point-and-shoot camera that wants to behave like an SLR. You can put those circular polarizers on it. It's got the newest processor, the Digix 4 processor, and why that's exciting is that it lets us shoot in lower light. The Digix 4 processor will allow us to have the higher ASA rating. Speaking of ASA on it, one of the things that's nice on it is that it has a separate dial for ASA that you can go into and you can choose. Now, cameras that have ASA, ISO, it's interchangeable words, that's the sensitivity in low light. Having an automatic sensor on, an automatic feature on it, will try to sense the amount of light it is and alter the ASA the way you want it. But being savvy photographers, you want to be able to tell it what ASA to shoot at, which is pretty nice. So they actually give you a dedicated button for the film speed right up on top of it. 14.7 megapixels. It's got a lot of teeth in it. It has an ETTL hot shoe. Up on top of here is a shoe that can be found on any of the other Canon SLRs. ETTL means electronic through the lens metering. You can actually put a Canon 560 flash on it and shoot 50, 60 feet away. So if you were doing event photography, this little camera, you can put a big flash on it and work with it. It will go up to 1600 ISO. It will also shoot RAWs. So a lot of the little shirt pocket cameras just do JPEGs. This camera will do RAW files. It'll do RAW plus JPEG. A RAW file is like, for those of you that don't know, the ones who are still living in that cave, you can shoot with a JPEG, which is lossy compression. You can put a lot of pictures on a memory card, and JPEGs work really well. They're fine. But when you get a really good photograph in front of you, or you want to do the true photographer's digital negative, you want to shoot in RAW. RAW doesn't do processing when you take the picture. RAW does the processing when you open up the picture later on in an image editing program. And the cool thing about RAW is that you can have a 2-stop up and down exposure latitude before you start to really hurt the picture. A JPEG only has about a third of a stop exposure latitude before you start to block up the shadows or kill the highlights. So RAW lets you do a little bit of slop in terms of exposure. Other good things about RAW is that you can keep it on automatic white balance, and when you're in RAW, you can adjust that later on, the white balance, and get perfect white balance. White balance can be very, very tricky for all you JPEG shooters out there. RAW shooters don't have to worry about that, because they can make those adjustments in post later on. The camera is built, it's a metal body, and it has a lot of rubber on it, so it's really sturdy. And the cool part about the design is, yes, it's a digital camera, but it looks a lot like an old-fashioned rangefinder camera. This one also has an improved viewfinder built into it, so on a bright sunny day, you can hold up the viewfinder and look through and see fine. And it's got a really kick-butt 3-inch screen on the back. And the reason I say kick-butt is that I have a friend who has it, and you can take the camera, you can hold it up over your head, and you can really see at a good angle. And when you chimp the camera, and by chimping the camera, I mean taking a picture where you, cameras that have chimp mode is when you go like this, you go, ooh, 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 check out that picture, ooh, ooh, ooh. That's the chimp mode, chimp mode. Now having a 3-inch screen allows for really good chimping of the camera. The chimp mode.
It doesn't swivel though, right?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. No, it doesn't swivel. It doesn't swivel. Yeah, you know, the old PowerShot swiveled. If you wait, my prediction, the Canon PowerShot G12 will have a swivel screen. We'll bring it back. Because we lost RAW on a couple years ago we lost RAW, now they came back. But it's really designed for a photographer, and it's very manual friendly. It has shutter preferred, aperture preferred, full manual. It has a host of picture modes that are built into it. And it's a very nice camera. And interestingly enough, last year, I talked about the G9. The G9 had a very short lifespan, about 9 months, and it was replaced by the G10. They really turned that quickly. Some of the problems were the viewfinder stunk on the G9, and the G9 only had 12 megapixels. So now they brought us up to 14.7, and it's better in low light. So, sweet camera, very nice.
How much?
How much? My daddy said if you have to ask how much, no, he can't. $462, I believe, is the current price. You also notice B&H this year, we have prices like $462 instead of $469. What we did is we got really tired of people calling us up saying, I saw it for a better price on the internet for $466. So now our buyers go out, they find the best prices, and we just put them out there at the best price. So,
and the optical is really bright enough to use?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's well, if you look at it, it's actually fairly large. On the little Canons, the little tiny PowerShots, they're really no good. They're too small.
Neither are like that.
Yeah, this is not, well, it's not big at all. Neither are like that, but yes.
Does it do video?
Does it do video? It does very good video. Yes, it does. It has a video mode. Video mode is we're on the cusp. The video modes have gotten better on digital cameras. This does a really good standard, a 640 by 480 video. But really the trend, there's a Sony that does 720p now. So there's a lot, well, that's not P, 720. There's a lot that are doing better video now. But it does do really good video. As a matter of fact, we used the G9. We did a scanners class, and we did wet plate scanning. But, this wet plate scanning allows us to take the negative and put it, actually scan it immersed in a fluid, so it doesn't have any scratches or dust is really seen through it. And it's pretty cool. So instead of schlepping the scanner in with the fluid and trying to do it in here, we actually went to my friend's digital darkroom and we filmed it using this camera and edited it together. Neither of us had a video camera, and it worked really well. Actually, it was the G9, not the G10. But it doesn't record in stereo. It's still monaural, so it's not replacing a video camera.
How is the noise different between the G9 and the G10? A little better,
the
or
Digix
less?
4 processor should be a little bit better. The noise was pretty good on the G9, so it's very little noise. But the Digix 4 processor is fast and very low noise. Yeah, it is okay, pretty good macro. Probably about I could check the specs, but probably about a ½ inch away.
Is there an adaptive lens that do a macro?
Well, you could put the LAPC 58 adapter and put close-up diopters on it. So yes, absolutely. But macro for the macro is probably going to be at the wide angle range, not the telephoto range. So there's a little bit of distortion. That's really, if you really want to do macro, that's an SLR. Because any of these digital point shoots, they do good close-ups, but you want to put it, it'll be a wide angle section. One more thing I just want to say, speaking of macro, yes?
I'm embarrassed to ask, what do you mean by noise?
Noise beating, red, green, and blue splotches that are in the shadows and start to show up. It's digital funk. Noise is not good. Noise, and it happens at higher ASAs usually. Okay, real fast, I just wanted to tell everyone, does anyone feel that their digital point and shoot focus is a little bit slow?
Yeah.
Okay. Check your camera. They all have macro mode. You can turn on or off the macro mode on a digital camera. If your camera focus is slow, I bet you got the macro mode on, which means if I want to shoot you guys, it's going to go rack from the closest macro all the way out to infinity. And there's a lot of focusing steps that are in the macro mode. So if you turn off your macro mode when you're not shooting close up, you'll notice your camera focuses a lot faster. You'll go, that was worth it to come down to B&H just for that one little tip. But trust me, if your cameras, you want to turn macro on and off, and if you keep your macro on when you're not shooting close-ups, you're wasting time on that
Oh,
lens.
it doesn't rack the lens physically? Because I have a weird camera, and mine actually racks the lens.
Yeah, it does.
It moves it out from the camera.
Well,
So it
the
can't hit-
elements inside are spinning and focusing.
Mine can't hit infinity when it's in macro mode.
Okay, but that's good. That keeps you from it. Almost
Right.
all the other ones will keep macro mode, just lets it get into the close-up range.